We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic. Pandemic is not a word to use lightly or carelessly.
COVID-19 at the very early stage looked like a black swan event. It looked like an event that nobody anticipated, no one was prepared for.
Community quarantine is hereby imposed in the entire of Metro Manila.
Lockdown was declared, and it all just went crazy after that.
Another record daily high for the Philippines.
So I told Secretary Duque then, sir, I think we have to prepare for the worst.
We had experience with SARS and Ebola, so we thought we were prepared.
I had worked on SARS in 2003. I couldn't believe that it was going to happen all over again.
We needed additional isolation facilities. We needed quarantine facilities. We needed additional hospital beds.
It's a situation where everyone saw the magnitude of the problem. No previous experience in the past 100 years.
In one of the world's toughest and longest COVID-19 lockdowns.
Many jobs were lost, companies closed.
Iba kalaban mo rito, hindi gera ito, these are virus. At that time, wala pang bakuna, hindi mo alam kung saan tayo pupunta.
We were beset with an unprecedented pandemic. And we do know that the healthcare system is not as resilient as we want it to be. So definitely, we needed help.
T3 was really a call that started with the president's call to have a whole-of-nation approach, meaning everybody.
This early, business groups are calling for a public-private partnership.
I talked to the Executive Director of the Asian Development Bank, Mr. Paul Dominguez. So I called him, sir, can you help me connect with the private sector?
When we reflect on it, and I did a lot of the calls and the asks, from companies, I can't recall any company that said no.
Imagine those from McDonald's, from Jollibee, from Ayala, who are experts in their own field, tutulong sa mga mayors.
The private sector stepped up and built temporary quarantine facilities, invested in testing, providing assistance to families that had been impacted by COVID.
We actually launched T3 publicly on April 24.
I could liken it to a basketball dream team. You will never have that opportunity.
T3 brought some of the best leaders of the private sector into conversation with the key decision makers, the policy makers of our government.
In a way, it really helped us balance the approach to saving lives, the health side, and livelihood in business.
Whether it's SM or Ayala, we just joined forces. We did not think of competition anymore. We just think of the country. We just think of the Filipino people.
The objectives were so aligned. It wasn't exerting regulatory power. It wasn't making profit.
No contracts, no signed agreements. Among the parties, we all joined voluntarily.
We really were meeting every morning at 8 in the morning, every single day.
Those were the times that duty calls for it. Dahil nakikita mo mga may sakit, yung mga namamatay. That is the main motivation for everyone.
Early April, we were only at 4,500 tests per day. We collectively said, let's target 30,000 by the end of May, which is a little over a month, which seemed really crazy.
So I was asked to facilitate the setting up of many labs all over the country. And from one, we now have close to 400 labs that are now capable of testing thousands of tests every day.
We were present from Luzon to Mindanao. We have a total of more than 78 malls. So we offered our venues to be test centers.
From testing, it moved on to vaccination.
The rich countries got all the vaccines in the beginning.
Sinovac came in, and then we had a few donations from COVAX of Pfizer and AstraZeneca.
Partner private organizations just came in, and by October, we were getting more and more vaccines, and now we have a surplus of vaccines. The bigger challenge now was how do we push the vaccines out and bring them closer to every Filipino.
7,700 islands. Ang dami nito. So how do you deal with the vaccines?
Yung SM malls and also yung Ayala malls, Robinson, they volunteered to use their facilities as vaccination sites.
At that time, only 32% of Filipinos would actually want to get vaccinated. Look at where we are now. 70% of the population fully vaccinated. We can only attribute it to the work of so many people. But in terms of demand generation, it was out of this partnership with Task Force T3.
The highlight of it really is the cases started to drop.
The campaign, which eventually was called Ingat, Angat tayong lahat, was meant to reopen the economy safely.
In all crises, popular support is very critical. And Ingat Angat was able to gather those support.
Precautions, ingat, but also upliftment. That through precautions, we are able to uplift ourselves.
We never thought that we would ever be in one video together. From Shell, Petron, Angkas, Food Panda, Coke and Pepsi. But that happened.
It was not anymore about McDo or Jollibee. It was about Pilipinas muna. So, mamaya na yung iba. Hanap tayo ng paraan dito.
To date, we have close to 66 million Filipinos fully vaccinated. We're now doing booster shots. And we're all here enjoying Alert Level 1.
Naiyak ako nag-Alert Level 1. Marami kaming naiyak actually kasi pinaghirapan talaga yung alert level niya.
And hopefully it creates a precedent of sorts for future crises or for future disasters or for future problems.
Eye-opening for all of us about what we have been able to accomplish in a short period of time.
I think T3 should live on, right? With or without the pandemic. I think this whole spirit of collaboration is something that should just be an always-on thing for us.
This is a whole of government, whole of society effort because no one is safe until everyone is safe.
If you roll back the clock to 2018, 2019, people may have said, no, it's impossible, we can't do it. But faced with something like this, I think we've shown to ourselves we can do it. Now, we should be prepared to do it under normal times.
Masasabi ko lang talaga, I'm very proud of being a Filipino. Nakita ko yun natin, yung samahan natin na talagang nagsama-sama tayo sa pandemya ito.